G'day, my name is Lochlan Watt and music is my life, although I have just watched the season finale of Andor and I'd rather talk about Star Wars than music right now. What I'm going to say about that is it's the best Star Wars since The Empire Strikes Back, and if you've ever been curious about what Star Wars for adults might be like, then I urge you to check it out. But time to move on to why you're really here. Jack Bergin, he is the singer of Melbourne's Void of Vision, a metalcore band that's been going at it for about 13 years. But released their swan song record last year, What I'll Leave Behind, and they are in the process of winding things up with one final show in Melbourne still to come, with an incredibly stacked lineup still to be announced and very few tickets remaining. But Jack and I actually have a bunch of stuff in common, and not just the traumatic brain injury experiences that we've both been through, but he has recently taken over from my old time slot on Triple J, where I did The Racket for 13 years. His show is called Core. Has a bit of a wider mandate, including more alternative, hardcore, and punk sounds in the mix as well. But I'm really stoked that we were able to do this kind of nice handover with things. I think he's doing a killer job over there. I'm really excited to watch him grow with the station. We talk about all of this stuff and more in the podcast, so time to move on to that. My name is Lochlan Watt, music is my life, and now I give you Jack Bergin. Cheers. Well, thanks for coming on the podcast, Jack.
Thank you for having me.
And I know I've said it before, but congratulations on the new role.
Thank you very much, mate. Thank you for the support too into the development of it. I think it's a nice story to be told. In that, I think in the end of everything, just I don't know. It feels like a nice handover. At the end of the day.
I always wanted it to be like that.
Yeah.
So you're like a month in. How are you finding it so far?
It's good. I'm really intrigued as to how people start this role without music industry experience, in terms of just also tech, because it would be very full on just jumping in there with no experience in front of a desk or any form of audio knowledge. And yeah, I'm glad that all of those years of just basic knowledge kind of paid off in the end, because it made the experience into jumping in a bit smoother.
Yeah, I think for me it was I had all the music industry experience and just the very basics of the tech, but I had zero actual radio experience. And but it's something you can learn on the fly.
Yeah. Did you have press experience before that, in terms of just?
Yeah, I'd been interviewing bands and writing reviews and stuff for years for street press and online.
Yeah. That made it a bit easier, surely.
Yeah. So I knew all the right people already.
Yeah.
But I have to say, listening to your first show, I think you sounded remarkably better than I did on my first show. You sounded like much more of a radio natural. My skills had to kind of take a while to get out of the gutter.
Do you remember how you started? Do you remember what it was like, the first one?
Yeah, I feel like I was pretty monotone.
Yeah.
And just terrified. And I remember my first show was a pre-record and I screwed up real bad on one of my back announcers, and Sarah Howes, one of the old hosts who was helping produce me, she's like, don't worry about it, just start again. I'll fix that up later.
Yeah.
And so just hard reset, started the back announce again, and then it went to air later that night, unedited, and I was just screaming and crying and fuck.
You're ready to listen back to your first show and then you just hear that.
Yeah, I was trying to not listen to it, but I remember my old girlfriend at the time and my roommate were listening to it in the room adjacent to mine and having a great time, and I heard that through the walls and just wanted to die.
I mean, there would have been a lot of fuck ups over the years, and you'd get conditioned after a few, right? You'd feel a bit more. You'd feel less I don't give a shit about this anymore. It's fine.
Yeah, radio.
It just happens.
Yeah, radio is pretty ephemeral.
Yeah,
it's just kind of, I guess, with the streaming back of the shows becoming more of a priority, it's less so. But
yeah,
at least not in the early days. It was more just about just the radio, and so once it's done, that mistake is gone forever.
Yeah, it's a bit like
and I guess
that.
In terms of the streaming, it's gone after a month or 2 months or however long it stays up for these days. I'm not sure.
For real. It's very funny how all those in the moment, you can't really avoid it. The first 10 seconds I was on air, I dropped the F-bomb, and it was for a lunchtime.
I tuned in for that.
Cross, yeah. was
I was
pretty
like, hell
insane.
yeah, we got the right guy.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. A bit unanimous. I think Josh Meshes straight away, just being like, "Oh, I'm glad this is happening."
So other than that, have you had any huge disasters in this first wave of your Triple J career?
No, but that makes me equally as concerned as to the first disaster because it's just building at this stage.
Yeah, you'll get something more insane eventually.
Yeah, that's it. But no, so far so good. I did think Nodfest would be a bit of a slog doing that for the first time because that was a bit strange. Just like you said, like we've all kind of done press prior to radio and that kind of world of things.
Yeah.
But jumping like on field for something and doing like scheduled interviews and stuff, it's very weird being on the other side of that.
How do you think you handled it?
I think I did okay. There's I'm definitely noticing and picking up on stuff like now I'm hearing back and watching as we're just talking about.
Mm.
But it's part of the learning experience.
Yeah.
Like I need to take like a chill pill before half these fucking interviews. I think the excitement really does get to me.
It took me a long time to become okay with air checks. Hearing the sound of my own voice for ages.
Big time. It
really makes you realize how different your speaking voice sounds in your own head, right?
100%. And like you're a vocalist as well, and you would understand more than any as well. Like it's so fucking it's just weird just hearing yourself back all the fucking time, and you're never going to be happy with how you sound. Like I think that's just us being in our own heads way too much.
Yeah, that's sort of why I always never was a fan of pre-recording shows, because you just like, I can do that better.
Yeah.
Run it back, and you just sit there wasting the whole day trying to pre-record a perfect radio show.
100%. The second that like, and that's the thing too. I've always been like that, and until very lately, like the last Vov record was the first time that I was very okay with just not retaking and just not making everything so fucking perfect. Like, and I suppose the longer you do it for and the more like recording experience you have, like you just end up kind of delving into that world of just being like, it's fine. Like it's just, we're only human. Like human error is much more of I think human error is much more authentic in this day and age than it ever has been. And it kind of speaks more to include a bit of that in your art and whatever you work with. I
think a little bit of that is good, but I've also worked with engineers, producers who I think have been lazy at times, and because you like, that is like, yeah, it's got character, and you're like, I know I can do like way better, but they just want to move on and get it done.
Yeah, that's hearing that word too. Like, oh no, it's all good. It's got character. That little fucking burp or whatever you do in there, it's got character in it.
So speaking of Void of Vision, the whole timing of it all was pretty serendipitous.
It's crazy, dude.
I never would have seen it coming.
No, dude. I think the day that the Triple J ad went up, like online, just posting about the applications, was the day we rolled out like the final tour flyer and the announcement. Like, I don't know, it was all just very in sync on that day. And I think, yeah, I'd caught whisper of it beforehand, but just putting in my application on that day felt so strange. Like I remember too, like I just put in the most like quick form. Like for some reason I thought I have to shit this application out. I have to just smash it in. I just have to. So I was just up like that day until like maybe 11 p.m. just like writing as much as I could up. And I don't know, I've never been great at like blowing myself up, but to like completely shift a resume. I've never written a resume in my life. Like that was kind of like the first time I jumped into that. And I think for a long time I'd thought like, fuck, I got no experience. And that's what I was worried about wrapping up band life is I didn't have a lot of experience in any fields of work. And then I was looking at kind of what I have done with Void of Vision, and I'm like, shit, like I've actually done quite a bit and gathered quite a lot of skills. And yeah, it just kind of all came out on that page. And I think as a result of that, I started applying for a lot of jobs in that time, and I didn't realize how much
you were actually qualified for.
Yeah, and like a bunch of people were getting back to me, like as well as Triple J, and I was just like, shit, okay, this has actually surprised me how much this has prepared me for.
So I think half the thing in music is just knowing people.
Yeah, big time. I think the networking you do over 10 plus years is just insane in the end of the day, and you never really stop to look at it in the time.
Yeah.
You don't have to think about it.
But yeah, it was interesting because like I had been thinking about hanging it up for a few years, but I just had absolutely no idea who the next person would be. I thought, surely there'd be
someone that would just make perfect sense that was working in media or something. And there was, don't get me wrong, a bunch of people who would have been able to do a really solid job of it at it.
100%, yeah.
But yeah, nothing really just made me go, fuck yeah, that's the person.
It was,
Until your name came up, and I was like, hadn't thought of that. Would never have thought of that.
Yeah.
But that really makes sense.
It's a strange one, isn't it? Like, do you think it's because it's outside the box and as a musician coming in? Because that's the thing. It's hard to find like an available musician with the time to be able to do that and do it justice as well.
Yeah, and I didn't know that Void of Vision was wrapping it up until I was originally told that you might be a good pick for the role because that was happening, and it was like, oh, that makes so much sense. But yeah, I think Triple J could definitely do with more musicians on air. There's not as many as there used to be. It seems a bit more comedian focused, and no diss on comedians, but it's a music station, and I think there needs to be more musicians speaking on that.
100%. And this new batch that they've just brought in for all the specialist programs, I think there's A Girl, who's also a hip hop artist, has been doing it for a while. Tiffy's like a super young pop artist as well, and I'm realizing the whole like look and angle they went for all these new specialist programs is musicians, which is ideally what a specialist should be on a music program. Yeah. Someone involved and around the scene. And yeah, you're right. I think that's what's super important, and it's going to like breathe some more life into it as well, like just across the board.
Yeah, the feedback has been really strong. I think I can count on one hand the amount of negative comments I saw about your announcement.
You were telling me about the negative feedback around
when I got announced. Yeah, I got absolutely slaughtered because it wasn't like this. It wasn't a nice, amicable handoff like my predecessor, in his own words, left kicking and screaming. And at the time, like I was singing in like a post-hardcore kind of DIY screamo-y sort of band, which really wasn't, the racket vibe.
It was against the grain.
And so people were like referring to that and being like, this is the guy who's going to be looking after the metal show.
Was it Full Metal Racket and then it's changed to Racket when you jumped on?
It was already the Racket.
Okay, cool.
When I jumped on.
So they tried, but obviously people were dedicated to the previous program. And
And I think I converted a bunch of them, and a bunch just fell off and never came back. But
well, that's the thing too. Like that's kind of what's been happening on this end as well, because obviously you were much more like focused on like, I think this new show like being a combination of like, I don't know, the lighter side and the heavier side, and trying to find that fine line in between. Like I have lost quite a few of your fans from the Racket side.
I expected you would lose a few, but yeah, I had been thinking for a while that, because I guess back when Short Fast Loud and the Racket were established, like the punk and hardcore and the metal scenes were operating pretty independently, and there wasn't really the heavy music thing with the sort of bands in the middle that had sort of now dominate everything.
That's it. The middle ground is, like that's actually really well put. The middle ground kind of is the very well populated pool. Yeah. And it's more niche either side of now.
Yeah. And it sort of really made sense to me, especially with, I think, younger audiences kind of perhaps caring less about being defined by one particular subculture. Sort of made sense to really have it all in the one spot.
It's super interesting, and because that's kind of the scene that I began performing music in, and that was for real what it was. Like it was very separated. And I think there's still like a part of that instilled in me, like this very deep feeling that that's kind of the way it is in my head, but I'm very surprised.
Yeah, the metal guys hate me.
Yeah, that's it. And I'm putting together these playlists and still thinking like, fuck, does it make sense? Like it's a bit strange like putting this all together, but at the end of the day, like it really does.
It's all rock and roll, brother.
It's all rock and roll, and everyone's adjacent to one another nowadays.
But yeah, I even like looking at some of the photos from your final tour the other month, and seeing some people in the front row that were like wearing like proper metal shirts, like long hair guys. Like I think you sort of converted a bunch of them.
It's super
to the band eventually. Anyway,
it's very strange, but you're right. Like the fan base at the end, I was just so. It was intriguing to see where we landed. Like at the end of Void of Vision, from where we began. Like to just that's just the collection of people that were there at the end. Like I could never have picked that many broad sort of like people coming together.
Must be bittersweet hanging it up on like what's no doubt your most successful headline tour
It
to
is.
date.
It is big time. Like, and it is interesting. Like, I think I was mentioning to you, like, it's an insane feeling. Like, you go out there and obviously it's the best tour you've ever done. Like, you're doing the best numbers. It's the best like crowds, the best feelings, and yeah, to call it on that is a strange thing at the end of the day. But like, that's the thing as well. Like, we went out on top with a bang, and I kind of can't remember the last Australian band who has done that, because it seemed like a thing back in the day where they'd hang up the boots and you sort of this legacy band, or they'd just go missing and end up a legacy band. But yeah, it's very interesting to call it on your own terms and just be there to be remembered in a positive light and not a negative one, and not fizzle out and do a half-assed comeback just for cash. And
Yeah, there's very, very few bands that have ever done it. I was all about how the Dillinger Escape Plan hung it up, and then now, of course, they're doing the reunion shows with a different lineup on the first record, and you're like, oh, you almost had that perfect legacy completely intact.
I'm kind of excited for that. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it's going to be sick
gonna be
still,
sick,
but,
yeah.
but you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, 100%.
you know, to have that sort of perfect musical time capsule is just incredibly rare. But
Yeah, that's the thing too. It is like a time capsule, and that's why I'm stoked to leave it on this record too.
do you think it will actually stay there, or were you kind of like ever thinking throughout the whole thing, oh, maybe we'll come back at some point? Or
That's the thing. Like, I have zero idea right now, because the whole idea was I just really needed to fall in love with music again, to just take that time off touring, to take time off band, because I was trying to figure out for a while what I did want to do on the other side too, and I was jumping on some touring work, doing some driving and some work for artists, and it was interesting, like, playing that side of the field, because I'm like, okay, so it's not the touring that I'm going to miss, and I was just running through different elements of what it could be that I would miss, and I just couldn't crack it at the end of the day. But I think jumping into like the creative that is with Triple J and still having that freedom to kind of curate music makes me realize music isn't the issue. Like, I'll always love it.
yeah.
And
It's the industry and the grind.
I think that might have been it. I think it was the grind, and just balancing that with like health as well. Like, that was always a big thing, just trying to get back on top of that, just so I can sort of see a future and have a future. And I don't know, like, that's kind of what I want to build towards now, just having an elongated future in the music industry. And I'm sure you can understand that too. Like,
I honestly sort of, by the time I'd wrapped it up with Triple J, like, people asking me, what are you going to do next? And I was like, I'm just going to focus on, you know, my touring booking job and my band, and maybe in like 6 months to a year I might do a podcast or something. But then by the time the idea for this landed in my head, by like December, like it was around New Year's Eve last year, and once the idea was there, I was like, fuck yeah, I got to do it. Now that I'm having these conversations, I'm like, I actually love this, and I'm glad I get to do this on my own terms now. I think I was just tired of the constraints and just all the, I guess, working within someone else's machine, or a government body in particular.
100% I can feel you. Like, I think freedom off your own back is something that we all need, like, whether it is a band or just, I don't know, I think especially a new creative outlet attracts so much as well. And I think it really proves that there's people with like a brain that can't take time off. Like, we kind of end an era, and we feel this strange kind of, I don't know, it's a magnetism to draw in whatever's coming next really quickly, and we'll do whatever we can to kind of, I don't know, have it unveil quicker, which it obviously has on both of our ends.
Yeah, like I would kind of, like, I don't want to speak for you, but my sort of prediction, I suppose, with Void of Vision would be that perhaps you take some time off, you're out of the meat grinder that needs you to be just on the road constantly, just you know, being broke all the time, just to try and get to that next level that, you know, might not ever really come. There's no promise of it, but you still got to like make the sacrifices to try and get there, because it sort of seems to be all about growth.
Yes.
But maybe if you have taken some time off, you'll remember why you loved it and be able to do it on your own terms, and not have to have that expectation of constantly pushing and constantly touring, and it might come back to you. Who knows?
That it's a big thing too. Like everything you just touched on, like there was the financials too. There was just the grind that really just like did grind us down at the end of the day, and it was getting fucking hard. And like being that broke overseas at our age is like a very tricky reality to face. Like, and the stress starts getting very like starts grinding you down very hard, and then to the point where you're thinking, fuck, is this like as much fun as I was having? And am I really feeling the joy of what I was doing once upon a time? And yeah, there's a lot of like mixed emotions when you're going through all of that. But I think you're right. Like having time off and just like trying to fall back in love with it again is just the most important thing at this stage. And I already am, like, very luckily, and it's been really nice. I've been working a bit of management side with bands too, and I realized the whole helping artists as well is really fulfilling still. Like, just I think being behind the scenes and seeing growth is a very it's a very fulfilling thing, especially, and I understand that it's not for myself. I think there's also some strange like fulfillment there as well.
Yeah, I used to, like, even sort of starting my latest musical project in my 30s, like 5 years ago or whatever. I was sort of still trying to hold on to the dream a little bit of like, I want to be a full-time musician. I want to get this up and running and really be able to just tour full-time. That'd be the dream.
Yeah.
And then you just kind of, I think I just eventually sort of accepted, like, I don't actually know if I even want that anymore, let alone I don't think I'm capable of sacrificing what needs to be sacrificed to do that. Like, definitely not in my 30s.
That's the thing, dude. And where we are with just like trying to build the rest of our lives, like it's fucking hard. Like it is hard to sacrifice at this age. And I think it's a different format for us now too. Like we've spoken about it too. Like just the idea of a studio project seems a lot more of a sustainable thing. Like not having to be out on the road, you can just create at your own pace at home and I
just
don't know,
go and book your own shows when it suits everyone.
Yeah, for real. That's it. And just make those one of a kinds just really pop and special. And
I really do enjoy helping younger bands as well. Like being able to sort of transfer the knowledge and the insights that I've gained over doing this for so many years to help out younger bands that still have, you know, the option or the possibility of sort of being able to make it more of a full-time focus is really gratifying. It's nice to be able to
I think you've always
transfer those skills.
Yeah. And you've always been in that realm too. Like I think it's bands like Alpha Wolf that you've backed since the start, like even when no one else would like back them, and there's got to be just this like you were part of that growth for them as well, like giving them exposure for the first time and in any way capacity that you could. And I think there's a lot to say for that too. Like we've always just like, I think a true musician or true creative can always like, I don't know, have that ability to really like help bring each other up when they are needing that. And I've seen you do it like time and time again, like just with smaller artists via whatever way you can.
Now that you have the Triple J platform, I'm sure there will be several artists that you're able to do that for in the coming years.
That's it. It's exciting, man. Like I really do enjoy. I enjoy the landscape of what I'm dealing with at the moment, and I think jumping in with open door management as well. Like just thinking about
what are you doing for them?
So at the moment, it's like to be fair, it is a lot of like at a learning capacity. I'm basically doing what I was doing for Void of Vision, just working as an assistant artist manager for them as well. So basically, just working. It's very cool, just approaching the whole roster and just working with every artist in a creative and capacity, and still obviously doing a lot of boring stuff on the back end. But it's all just a part of an artist's growth, and just being alongside it and seeing it sort of come into fruition is really fun. And I've been working with onboarding like yours truly a lot, which has been really nice. And I don't know, just helping like lend a hand in that creative aspect and just helping them kind of have those conversations that I think a lot of the music industry won't have with you. And it's kind of nice having an artist to artist chat sometimes of just vulnerability and just
what conversations do you feel the music industry is not having with artists?
I think it's just like the freedom and I think the music industry at the moment just does focus a lot on the growth. Like we've been saying, it is just very fucking like statistical growth oriented and just like
I think that's kind of just like the whole world is just kind of
numbers.
trapped in the number must go up, or like, what are you doing? And it's like
100%.
endless growth. And sometimes I sort of feel like, what's wrong with just being able to, you know, reach a stable place?
100%, man. And that's the thing too. Like we are just, everyone is just getting way too fucking caught up in it. Like,
And I don't know, I'm not that familiar with other areas of the industry, like stylistically. I guess, you know, death metal, the old school metal scene, it is definitely not hung up on it in the same way as the younger sort of metalcore crowd, but it always seems to be like, all right, we've got to sell out these level rooms, so then we can go to this level room. Then if your band is kind of touring at the same level room for a while, people start to kind of write it off.
dude, 100%.
And it's kind of like they're still selling like 1,000 cap rooms. Like you can make an okay living doing that. Like it's steady.
100%. The sellout trap is fucking ridiculous. Like it is just this red sticker chase. It's just doing my head in. Like it's awesome that it's happening as much as it is now, because I don't know.
It feels great when it happens to you.
100%. Yeah, 100%. But it's so insane. Just the thirst for this red sticker. This is just it's been doing my head in. But I don't know. Like you said, like you'd still have an incredibly sustainable tour without these things. Like it is. I think I just hate it in the form that I see artists doing it as clout chasing, and yeah, it's a tricky line to cross. It is, of course, for the heavy industry, is wild to see as many like sold out shows as we are at the moment, and maybe it is good for fans to see that all the fucking time and to create the demand and create the hunger for more. But yeah, I think there's a degree of it where it feels kind of unhealthy. But then there is the genuine, like, we have sold this out in 10 seconds. This is an amazing feeling.
Yeah.
But I'm getting very sick of the 40 tickets left, 17 tickets left, 3 tickets left, and it's a month out.
Yeah, that's my life.
It's good. It's have you been enjoying the crossover though?
Like booking shows?
Yeah, back into that world, because obviously you're
it's
saying
sick. Like I was booking shows long before I was doing radio.
What was the year gap between starting at Dal and like your last show book? It was Rosie's, wasn't it? You said in Brisbane.
Oh, I used to book shows at Rosie's. Like that was my first job booking music.
Yeah,
I think must have started in like 2007 or something. Then 2008, I booked my first tour.
Hectic.
I'd never booked a tour at all, and just like hit up this post metal band from the States called Rosetta on MySpace, and I just was obsessed with them and really wanted my band to play shows with them, and I really just wanted to see them. And I was like, the only way I'm ever going to be able to see this band is
put it on myself.
I just have to do it myself, and got like a small loan.
Yeah.
Brought them out. No visas, of course, just doing it dodgy.
Holiday mode.
Sleeping on floors.
Yeah.
Made all the money back, and then I just lived off the loan for the next year instead of paying it back, and kind of blew it. and then a few years later, I did it again and toured, half a dozen bands, and then that old label touring thing I had sort of fell apart. And then I moved to Melbourne and started doing a thing through a record label a distribution place called Rocket that I was working for a while, and had this little touring imprint in the company called Carbon Sunset, and we did like Youth Code, The Black Queen, Drab Majesty, Cult Leaders, Zeal and Ardor, a bunch of stuff. And then I got picked up to help curate the metal side of things at Dark Mofo for a few years.
Oh, okay, hectic. I was wondering what your tie-in was with that.
And then I had my first health tour booked around Dark Mofo, I think like 23 it must have been. And I think my first tour back after like the pandemic and like my second brain surgery.
Yeah.
Lost like, I think like $2,000 or something. Like it was a pretty low budget tour, but lost a little bit of money. And I think post COVID, the focus of Rocket had shifted a bit because, their retail record sales were exploding, or their online record sales were exploding during COVID, and they just were just like, what are we doing? Losing money on this. We should just be focusing on what we know we're good at. and actually ran into Ben at a Knocked Loose show the night before, I think the first Knotfest,
Yep.
and told him what was going on because it's I'm like, I've got this health tour booked and it doesn't really seem like things are going to be working out with Rocket. And he's like, $2,000 loss? That's a great day at work for us. Like, let's have a chat after
You
Knotfest.
should jump on board. Yeah.
And so yeah, health kind of kicked it off from there.
I love that. That's a very special band in your
Yeah,
your
it's,
world then,
it's
I can
unreal.
see.
It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know, never would have seen it coming. Saying that again,
Yeah.
but
100%.
like yeah, I fell in love with that band's Volume 4 record,
Mhm.
and it just made so much sense as like a dark mofo band, and so I hit them up for that, and
It's a perfect fit, dude. It's
then came back a year later for a full run of headline shows, and they all sold out. And then a year after that, Knotfest, and then we're looking to do another headline tour next year on the new record with the next size rooms up. So it's just I feel like I'm on a really exciting ride with that band, and we get along great, and
it's so sick, dude.
it's awesome.
And it's been such a quick ride too, like from that start to now, how massive the growth has been. Like,
Well, they've been a band for quite some time, but yeah, they've had a very, very strange career.
yeah, to also come to Australia this late on and just click that quickly.
Well,
too.
they had come twice before,
Yep.
back in their sort of hipster noise rock days.
Yep.
But then they sort of, as they put it, sort of set fire to the old ties and just wanted to sort of get back more to the roots of who they were as people,
Yeah.
and sort of abandoned the hipster scene for the more heavy crowd that had sort of started to embrace them and started getting a bit heavier with their music, and just
That is
it's
how,
still
yeah.
very, very strange that they've found themselves where they are, sounding like what they do.
100%. I think that's a lot of how myself and like my friends who were into them got into them as well when they made that crossover. But you're right, it just works so well within our world. And like you said, they're doing massive stuff with Sleep Token, Bad Omens, and just into that whole world now. It's an amazing crossover that, like, I've always loved industrial, like having that accessibility, which is really cool. Like, and it's been a long time since that's kind of entered our world so successfully. At
Well,
least
I mean, you guys, Void of Vision, chucked a bunch of it in.
we loved it, dude, and that was a very late on thing. And I think, yeah, it would be very interesting to see where we went after this record, because I think it would have been very fun to play on that world and just.
Might have gone a bit more full on Rammstein.
I think so, yeah. I think like there was some calling, and I'm very interested to see creatively, because I know like James will keep working with artists and stuff on the back end, because he's producing at the end of the day. God's so good. And I already know he's been working with a few artists already, just like helping co-write and that sort of world. And I'm glad that is still going to weirdly live on. Like, I feel like everything that we gave that band is still going to live on in its own weird little routes outside of the band. So it is another cool thing to think about ending it, that we're going on to just help more artists and do more of what we can for the whole scene as a whole.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Bit of a hard pivot, but you did mention your health before briefly.
Yes.
And well, no, I guess not that much of a hard pivot. We're talking about health and health. But
well played.
I did find it kind of awesome that, the Triple J Heavy Torch has been passed from one human with a brain injury to another.
It's insane, dude. It is insane. Like, that's out of everything. Like, we could have just never have known of each other, but just that pure fact on its own, that's enough merit to just like run on its own.
And you know what is funny, like, and I think just sort of should be said for the sake of this podcast and like suspicions of possible nepotism or anything. Like, I barely knew you.
For real.
Like, I think we'd met in passing like 2 or 3 times until like I interviewed you for the Racket last year. That was probably the first real conversation we'd ever had beyond just saying hello.
Handshake mode up until like press. And then all of a sudden, but like, it was very funny because we obviously understood what each other was going through with health, and there'd be like a message of just like hope everything's doing okay. And then, the next conversation we're having is just the passing of the torch, which is crazy.
Full-blown career change.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, I think that's the thing. Like, I think there's just this weird mutual respect we share in that sense, just knowing like at least like escheric of what each other, like it's very hard to understand what people go through in that realm, but it's very, very rare to be going through these procedures and understanding that someone is doing the same fucking thing as you, especially in our universe as well, like as a creative, as a musician.
Just our age group, I think, in particular.
Big time. It's been a crazy few years just, I don't know, dealing with that, and I'm sure it's been the same for yourself. Like, just what a fucking wild ride it sends you on. Like, it just flips your life upside down and kind of reframes everything. And yeah, honestly, I doubt both of us would be in the same place if we hadn't gone through any of that. Like,
yeah, I think it's made my life better.
100%, which is very strange to think about at the end of the day, like how much it has improved everything else in my life and how I understand and navigate life now, which is fucking crazy to think about because it's a very scary thought initially.
Yeah.
That kind of the fear just creates this very, very motivational kind of, I don't know, attitude on the future.
Yeah, it's all pretty overwhelming at the time, but when you're processing it, but
yeah,
I think like my first round through it, it kind of gave me this really nice reassurance, perhaps, that like I'd lived life the way I wanted to, and I was like, okay, if this is how I'm going to go, then I think I'm happy with what I've achieved, and the fact that I sort of didn't listen to, parents, school, society saying you got to do this, you got to do that, don't pursue music, that's like foolish or whatever.
Yeah.
Sort of made me like be like, yeah, well, if this is it, then whatever. That kind of sucks, but I've done what I need to do, and then I think that sort of gave me a really nice basis just to become a more mature human, and sort of prepared me to be able to enter into like a proper long-term relationship with my now wife, which is by far the longest relationship I've ever had. I've never really been able to sort of sit still and commit for more than a couple of years, and I feel really settled and awesome in life now. And then so when it happened the second time, it was just like I felt cheated and bitter and angry, and just like I don't want to do this again. I've got new plans now, like new shit to achieve.
That's it. It's super interesting when it doesn't go according to plan, because I think like a lot of the conversations you're having with these professionals is just like the path for it to go away or to get better. And everything outside of that is kind of, there's obviously always, they'll tell you the what ifs and the extra parts that go off, but like the first procedure I went through, the first gamma knife bout, like nothing happened, and it was kind of disheartening, just especially through like, and the first time, like for some reason it just got me really fucking bad. Like the side effects were like pretty crappy, and I was a bit like, I was thinking, this better be, you go through, this better be worth it, like all of that world. And yeah, it was very strange. Just, I think that was the moment, because pretty much after all of that happened, I went not straight on tour, but jumped straight onto touring after that, going through all that crap and just feeling like absolute shit in America. And then coming off the back of that and still kind of trying to take it easy, but you can't really take it easy on tour. Like no matter what you do, you're going to be fucking eating shit for breakfast. And yeah, it's just not a great, enjoyable time starting from scratch in America, not really touring in a luxurious way, essentially. Going back to square one, doing the van thing again, and then getting back home and going in for a review and seeing nothing's really changed. I couldn't help but think, fuck, like I probably could have had a bit of a say in this, and was a bit angry at myself for like the choices that I made, and realized like, okay, like if I promised myself I was going to be a bit more mature about these things and make the right decisions, then I should probably stay true to that and just do what's best by myself. And then after taking care of myself on the second round, like I noticed changes and there was actual results, and I was much happier to see like that go through. And that feeling, if anything, made me feel much more like, I don't know, realized and ready to take on the future.
Yeah, it's interesting you talk about taking care of yourself, because I did the exact opposite up until chemotherapy. Brain cancer has a 20% survival rate on average, and I was just like, this is probably going to kill me, so fuck it. And I just basically went on like the craziest
Hedonistic kind of.
drug binge of my life for 6 months, like right up until chemo started, until the weekend before chemo, and it was
Yeah.
one of the most fun times of my life.
I think it's a double-edged sword too, because like obviously that was kind of just purging it out of your system in a way, right? Like you got to do everything. Was it kind of like, I want to do everything that I've ever wanted to do kind of situation?
Oh, it's just kind of just like, fuck it, I just want to have fun with my friends and party and
Yeah.
be a complete drug pig. And like
Drug pig is hectic.
the only time I've ever got a band's logo tattooed on me was on one of those binges. Woke up one morning
the Slipknot.
with the Slipknot logo on my arm.
Oh, dude. It could have been anything else.
It was after the like North Lane played like an Alien preview or release show or something at like
Yaya's one.
Yaya's, and
and you just went out after that.
Just raged on, and
yeah, fucking hectic.
Shantae Savior did that in.
Oh, no kidding.
I think Josh Smith's living room at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning after we were just like, you know,
fucking hell,
going hard as hell.
That is hard as hell. That's so fucking sick, and it could have been so much worse.
Yeah,
that's honestly like the hardest.
It's surprisingly decent.
It's
for how
really
fucked
good.
Up we both were.
I was expecting like stick and poke, just some fucking shitty like drunk drawing sort of type shit.
Yeah.
Someone's fucking initials, but I mean it is an initial, but
Yeah,
the
but
most powerful initial you can have.
On the flip side of that, like it didn't always end up nice. Like, I think I went out drinking for an Iron Mind show.
Yeah,
like downstairs here at Stay Gold.
Oh no shit!
One of those Bender weekends as well, and I was just like moshing my ass off for the first band or two, and like pegging fucking beer cans at people, and security tried to drag me out, and I tried to fight the security guard, and like the old venue manager was like trying to help the situation out and make it so I could stay, but then I started trying to fight the security, and it was like, "You're out, mate. Sorry."
Fucking
hell. I just went full.
No, you worked your way everything.
Back in. I'm just fucking don't give a shit. And then chemotherapy arrives, and it's like, okay, I actually have to get serious, because if you know your immune system's fucked, then it's not possible to do that.
It's insane what that side of things can do, because I guess I was living in that realm as well, like once upon a time, and that's kind of how that's how my AVM got found. Like, if I didn't get blackout drunk and pass out and crack the back of my head open, I haven't been in for a CAT scan in my whole life. And then they're like, oh, well, obviously, like I was getting scanned for concussion, and they had no idea what the fucking thing was at the back of my head. Like, oh, we better take a closer look at that. And then if they hadn't looked at that moment, and that makes me think like a lot of people just don't go into hospital and like get their fucking head scanned that often. And it's very interesting to wonder if there are underlying problems for people that like they don't know about, and how long they've been living with these problems. And it's pretty crazy to think how many people could be living like that.
Yeah, I'm sure I probably told you before, but I was having mini seizures for like a year or two before the big one that sort of unveiled it all. And because it was just like a little...
What were the mini ones
really
like?
Just sort of passing, real fleeting moment where just like it would be like reality would kind of get a little bit narrower, and volume would kind of get louder, be like things would be a bit whoa, 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 and then I'd sort of snap out of it and be back to normal.
Yeah. And that was freaking you out. Like
it was freaking me out a bit, but it would usually happen when I was like hungover or coming down, which is because I was dehydrated. My brain was shrinking and kind of tripping the wires a bit.
Yeah.
But I would just sort of write it off as like I've fucked myself up from partying and I just kind of just tried to ignore it.
That's the thing, dude. Like,
and then one day just got absolutely shattered, drunk, and the next morning it was like whoa, 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 it started happening. I was like, oh fuck, this is a big one. And then the next thing I know, I was like contorted, my back was all twisted up, and I was like drooling on my floor, and my housemate found me like going, dude, what the fuck is going on? I'm like, I don't know. And then I'm in an ambulance, and then I'm in a MRI or CAT scan machine or whatever, and they're
Yeah.
like, yeah, there's a tumor in your brain the size of a golf ball.
Fucking hell, dude. It's insane, isn't it? Like,
Mm.
I think that's the
Probably
thing. Like,
caused it, but also wouldn't have known about it if
for
it
real.
hadn't happened. So I don't know.
Exactly. And we would have just kept living our lives as per. But yeah, ignoring those fucking moments is just,
Yeah,
that's kind of how
get
we
checked.
Yeah, 100%. Seriously. Like, that's kind of just how we lived. Like, I just didn't think twice about it. Like, I fucking blacked out behind the wheel driving. Like, I just had no idea what happened. Woke up and just kind of like had my legs like crushed under the wheel, and it was just like, fuck. Like, I was very lucky nothing worse happened, but I put it down to, and doctors, to be
And
fair,
is
put it
this-
down to narcolepsy.
Is this
Like,
way before the
Yeah, like-
right.
during COVID, I think it was, like, doing like essential work or whatever when I used to work in retail. And yeah, I was just driving home one day. I thought I was just super fucking tired. Went to the doctor like after and explained all that, and they were just like, oh yeah, like you're like, I don't know, typical GP kind of spiel. And putting it down, you should get checked for narcolepsy and all that sort of stuff. And I even went to, I don't think it was a neurologist before that, but like a specialist of some form, and they were suggesting all this stuff for narcolepsy as well. And then I was thinking, it doesn't really seem right because it's very on and off. Like, that should be an all the time thing. But yeah, just lots of ignoring signs and not necessarily taking action when I should have. But I can imagine you had like a lot of the same as well.
So where are you at with it all now?
So I've been seizure free for like, I'd say 2 years, thanks to Keppra and just like healthy medication like all the time. And otherwise, yeah, it's still about to jump in for round 3 of Gamma Knife, which is
Is that a chemo sort of or radiation?
radiation.
Thing? Yeah.
So it's like stereotactic surgery. So they'll just pop me in the head frame, and they'll just like bolt it into my head, and I kind of just stay around in that all day until they're getting all the correct directions. I'll do a bunch of scans, do the angiograms, get all like their statistics, and they pop me in a machine at the end of the day, and they just target that very specific area. But I don't know if you find it this way, like when you started going into all these machines for hours on end and etc. Did you always get sprung by like the playlist question about what you want to listen to in like all those machines? Or did you have you always had like a go-to?
No, like I always found they were so noisy that it was pointless even trying to have music.
Interesting. Okay.
Like, I honestly can't really remember
Yeah.
much about because I had to have my head in like a frame thing for the targeted
The
radiation.
mask thing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was at the peak of my binging, and I was like, rocking up still drunk and high some mornings
Gotcha.
for like my 15-minute radiation session.
Oh, was
'Cause that was like my
so was that
only,
a 15-minute?
that was like my only responsibility. Like I wasn't working,
Yeah.
but for I think it was 3 months or something, I had to go to the hospital Monday to Friday.
Oh, okay,
And
crazy.
just like, and I think it sort of the duration maybe increased a little bit gradually every time, but
That's it.
I'd get in some machine and they'd blast radiation targeted at this part of my head. And
Yeah.
but these days it's just like lots of MRIs, and they sometimes ask if you want to listen to the radio, but I think I've tried, but it's just
You've had enough
'cause
of
it's
radio
going
for the time
rang,
being.
rang, rang, making this crazy noise, and
It's fucking
you
crazy.
can't hear shit anyway. So
It's insane these machines are still like cranking after
Yeah,
the same way, but
it's I used to be completely fine with it. I
Yeah.
handled it totally normally, but
so were yours quick bouts when you went in? So I mean, like the dosage obviously is like there's a legal amount that they can only
the radiation,
yeah, that's
yeah, it was just short bursts that I guess got longer over time.
Yeah.
I think the longest I was ever in the radiation thing was like 15 minutes maybe, and then the chemotherapy started after that, and that was just taking pills.
yeah.
And I'd take pills for a week and gradually get really fucking sick, and then have 3 weeks to recover and take the pills again, and
Yeah.
did that for 6 months. And
Hectic.
yeah, it was brutal.
It's interesting. Yeah, like my ones were around. I'm in like the machine for 2 fucking hours.
Oh fuck.
Just kind of lying there. Well, I've got
So
this
yeah, I
head
guess the
frame and
playlist is probably a little bit more pertinent too then.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's been nice having to actually think about that for the first time about what I actually want to sit down there with for 2 hours, and especially now
I'd be
strange
going
that I have to
podcasts, or are you just going music?
go music now. Like
Yeah.
my partner curated like a playlist for me, and I had to
That's
guess
sweet.
what the common theme was,
So
which actually worked out quite well. And
you got a little bit of a game to play.
exactly, yeah, that kind of thing is really sweet. But yeah, it's super fucking interesting just having to now curate 2 hours of music all the time, week in, week out. So I'm extra good at it now. But yeah, like you said, like those side effects, just fucking, just the aftermath of, especially with you would have to do the upkeep as well with chemo and having to take those pills. And
Yeah, the radiation was easy. Chemo was
not,
fucking awful. I remember like the first couple of days I think of chemo, I
yeah,
took my pills and was like, this is fine. This is not what it's cracked up to be. And I was like going for runs and shit, just thinking I was invincible. And then, you know, day 3 happens and you're like, you feel like lead on the couch and you're just like,
yeah.
I'm going to do nothing but smoke bongs all day today.
That's the thing too. I remember I thought I got off scotch-free. Like after the first thing, I'm like, this is fucking easy. Like I'm so chill to keep going. And then the whole like right side of my body just like would keep going numb and just falling asleep. I'm just like, oh fuck. And I was like doing stuff just like regular kind of day to day. But yeah, it's very interesting. Thinking that moment of invincibility where you're just like, everything's fine. Like I'm so on top of this.
So like how long do you think you need to keep this sort of treatment going for?
I think it's about 2 to 3 more years. So it's bi yearly at the moment, so every 6 months, and I think that'll turn into yearly, and then yeah, from there it's kind of just taking care of it till it's a manageable size, until it's like a stage where they can delete it, and it might be a stage of
Delete that.
Yeah, pretty much. I can't wait for it to be entirely deleted, but yeah, it's making moves, which is really positive for the first time in a long time.
Nice. People ask me all the time, like, how's your cancer? Like, are you in remission? And I'm like,
Yeah.
No one's ever said the word remission. Like, I'm not even really sure what that means in my case. It's just,
Yeah.
like, because my second surgery was a false alarm. It was just scar tissue growing out of control that they thought was cancer coming back.
Okay, crazy.
So they cut me open again just to take scar tissue out. And I felt pretty fucking cheated. Like, had to cancel a whole bunch of stuff and go under again.
Or just to cut out something.
Just to cut out some scars. But it's like, if they didn't do that, they wouldn't have known.
Yeah, that's true.
And there was no active cancer cells found, and it's been
That's curious.
like,
After
I
that,
think 2 or 3 years now, and they
yeah.
back to getting scans once every 6 months, and no changes found. So I think I'm in the clear, but they can never really. It's not the sort of thing that they can never just really say, okay, this is done, you're good forever. I just
Yeah.
have to get scanned every now and then for the rest of my life.
That's it. Yeah, it's kind of just, which is another thing of just taking care of yourself for the rest of your life and just keeping up to date with that. But after that second, where it was just the removal of the scar tissue, obviously there wasn't any like radiation or anything involved. Did it feel weird? Like
they thought there was going to have to be radiation and chemo after that, but then when they didn't find any active cancer cells, it was like,
how did you feel after unnecessary brain surgery? Like what was the bodily kind of reaction to that?
bitter.
Yeah.
Fucking just, I was so cut, felt so cheated.
Yeah.
Because I'd like cancelled tours and
yeah, like that's a full getting in the way of like quite a chunk of time that you'd need. Jesus.
But it also kind of prompted my wife and I to just go fuck it and go on elope. So
yeah,
there was some nice side effects to it
exactly.
as well.
It was that is a good sign as well. I think that's what it is. Like that's the whole process of what we go through, just kind of making those decisions. But like I don't know, it's the way I see it. It's kind of just like stuff we were going to do anyway, but I think it just like moves your priority list up, which is good. Yeah, it's nice.
Definitely changes things.
Yeah, that's it.
So what are you finding like the most challenging aspect of being in the hot seat at Triple J?
That's an interesting one to put. I think for time being, I think it's just keeping. It's hard because I think the most challenging part is making sure that, like, I'm sure you felt this too, like when it all kicked in, like it would have been a different time, admittedly, but just making sure that heavy music is getting the attention it does deserve. Because I don't know, like I think the world is in a very interesting position right now where I'm seeing like skerricks and like little moments of this world that I dreamed of growing up. Like I would have seen stuff like Korn playing on MTV and just like a heavy music world that's so accessible and like it's so just large and like all these like I don't know metal musicians rocking up to awards shows and like insane like just wearing just insane shit, and we're seeing a world where you've got Knocked Loose and Spirit Box going to the Grammys, and you've got sort of everyone playing on Jimmy Kimmel Live, and there is just little moments where I'm seeing like an accessibility back to this stuff that could go a long way.
Yeah.
And I think striking while the iron's hot kind of thing is really important to me at the moment, and I want to know where Australia lies within that world of everything, because it's been like Australia is not necessarily catching on to stuff as quickly as other countries anymore. And
Yeah, I think one of the most challenging things to kind of stomach and accept, especially when you're at Triple J and there is this, access, I suppose, that you have to the mainstream channels, and you see the bands coming up and they're just bubbling below the surface and getting these little pockets of mainstream attention, and like the scene and the following for it all is really strong and passionate, but I think it would also probably kind of suck if absolutely everyone got into it. Like it's
100%.
supposed to be sort of
I
under
think
the surface still.
there is a strange, like the underground kind of needs to be gatekept in a scene, and I still do strongly believe that, because, for example, like if our hardcore scene exploded and that was super accessible, it would fucking suck. Like,
I think it's important to be able to let everyone know that it exists, so everyone has the opportunity to get into it and get involved. But it's not for everyone. And
100%.
it was always very frustrating trying to get stuff through on Triple J, and you just think that this makes so much sense. Look, they're selling out this size venues and doing this many streams and blah 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 blah. But then you play it during the middle of the day, and your average person is just like, "What? Fuck you! I'm switching stations."
100%. It's it's a strange world we're involved in, but it's nice. It's good to understand like what we do, I think, and there is that element of realizing where everything belongs. And I'm stoked to see like some artists flying the flag for it, but it's interesting when it's like the buck stops there, and it feels like a healthy relationship in a sense with just like outsiders like listening to heavy music and discovering that at a grander form. I mean, that's how I found it once upon a time with, I guess, seeing like a band like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of what the most like accessible band back then would have been. Like, I don't even think Bring Me the Horizon were even accessible when I found them, if it was Pray for Plagues kind of stuff. But that kind of world where you do just slowly make your way into the heavy world. And
what was your first stepping stone?
God, it's really hard, dude. Like, stepping stone was probably like The Offspring in primary school, but that was just like a punk world, and I think that's where I did grow up a bit more in the punk realm. But heavy stuff like Parkway was 100% the first that I found, just purely because it was Australian music, which is super interesting.
Nice.
And kind of finding it unreal that we fostered like that kind of band here, because I'd just heard like snippets of, like I said, Bring Me the Horizon and stuff, and maybe it was like early Architects or something at that stage, but then heard Smoke 'Em If You Got 'Em and was like, fuck, this exists here. Like, they're actually from here. And then I think a couple of years later, the DVD came out, and I was just like, fuck, this is crazy.
This is what I want to do with my life.
Yeah, 100%. And that's kind of when I knew, I think. I saw that DVD and that was the first time I wanted to get into a room of friends and start playing music.
So I try and ask the guests on this show, like, what's the one piece of music that changed your life more than any other? What's the first thing that comes to mind? And you may have already just answered it.
I dare say it would be that. I remember I was at some like, God, it wasn't even at school. We were at it was during like the bushfires, and there was like that, I think it was called Sound Relief, and there was like that massive thing at the MCG, and they did one at the SCG, and it was just like a massive just kind of day festival of, I can't even remember who played it. I remember it was just typical kind of rock fest, like Jet, Wolfmother, like whatever the fucking time would have been. I think Coldplay even played. But it was like a fundraiser, and my mate who was there just showed me out of his just shitty fucking Sony Ericsson phone speakers, smoke 'em if you got 'em, and I just kind of flipped out and
Nice.
went back and went down that rabbit hole, and yeah, just came out with a whole bunch. And I think that's kind of a very interesting point too, because hearing that kind of thing made me just want to gather so much more, and like I was keep dropping around this curate like a bit more of like what I like to my taste. And it's interesting that my discovery of heavy music kind of began, and I started just kind of wanting to create like a playlist around it and make more and just see what fits, because it's always intrigued me to a degree.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I think you have to get going pretty soon to go talk to some pretty big rock stars, right?
That's it. And it's another weird thing, I guess, just jumping in and flying around the country, just doing all this kind of stuff it's a bit of a trip.
Well, I appreciate that you made some time for me before Under Oath.
Absolutely. Yeah. Of course. It's not like this is coming out tomorrow or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. But yeah, it's a lot of fun, and yeah, I don't know. Thank you. It's very full circle doing this, and
I really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you, man. And
I really like being able to pass the torch off like this.
This feels like
really wholesome, and
it does, doesn't it?
I'm really stoked.
Yeah.
So
this was the official moment.
Can't wait to just keep watching what you do over there.
Thank you, man.
People have been always asked me like, do you miss it? Or like, and I'm like, not really. Like I thought I might, but then once I saw or listened to your first show, I was just like, whew. Like it was like a weight off. I'm like,
that's sick.
The show's in good hands, even though it's not the same show, but the slot and the concept is in good hands, and
that's it.
Heavy music's in good hands at Triple J, and my job is done, and it's time for me to move on to this stuff, I guess.
Thank you, mate. And I appreciate the trust and just all those kind words. Like it really does mean a lot to know I've got the nod of approval, and I do appreciate it.
Thanks, Jack. I'll maybe have you on again sometime in the coming years.
Absolutely, we'll do a yearly review.
All right, sick. Thanks,
Absolutely.
man.
No worries, bros.
Thanks for listening to Music Is My Life. This podcast is self-produced by me, Lochlan Watt. I'd like to thank Audio Technica Australia for providing the high-quality equipment that has made this possible, as well as Patrick Galvin at Hollowbone Studio for the design. The killer theme music that you are currently hearing was written by the legends TJ Cowgill and Sam Saljuki. Catch you in the next episode.